let us allow our honorable guests to give their short opening remarks. Sir Lawrence.
Good morning, everyone. Magandang pagkakataon ito na maliwanagan ang ating mga kababayan tungkol sa impeachment complaint na ifinail. It was transmitted to the Senate yesterday, and I hope that this will be a good opportunity for evidence to be presented by both sides para matapos na po ang mga aligasyon at mabigyan ng liwanag ang sambayanan. Maraming salamat po.
Kong Sia.
Well, I'm also blessed to share this table with two of our prosecutors, Congressman Lawrence Defensor and Congressman Roger Gutierrez. Ako po ay nakikiisa sa aking mga kasama po dito sa House of Representatives na ito pong pagkakataon na ito, itong umagang ito, na maliwanag, tama nga yung sinabi po ni Congressman Noel Defensor, maliwanagan at mapag-usapan ay isang bagay na sa ngayon ay pinaka-importanteng issue na ng ating sa publiko at ating sambayanan. So I'm happy to be here with you to join these two prosecutors, and I am looking forward to answering all your questions later on. Maraming pong salamat. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Congrats.
Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. I understand this is a very momentous occasion for everyone, and there will be a lot of questions. It's understandable, and we'd like to take this opportunity to clarify any concerns that you may have. We understand as early as yesterday, with the news breaking out, there was a lot of disinformation, a lot of confusion, and we hope to clarify some of that. Although we'd like to limit it, hopefully, to avoid speculation po, no? Mahirap na po yung mga haka-haka. So we'd like to stick to the facts, and we'll do our best po to answer your questions. Thank you for this opportunity po.
Thank you, sirs. For today's first question, may call on Tina Pangliban Perez from GMA 7.
Good morning po, sirs. Senate President Cheese Escudero said that Congress has to be in session for the senator judges to take their oath. So, ibig sabihin po, sa June pa po tayo mag-i-impeachment trial. Now, my question is primarily for the prosecutors po. How will that affect your preparations? Will there still be strategizing during the break? Also, hindi ko naman po sinasabing matatalo kayo, but what if one of the 11 prosecutors could not make it to the 20th Congress? Baka umabot sa 20th Congress yung trial. Also, is that possible that the trial will continue into the 20th Congress?
For sure, and definitely our preparation will continue. We will continue to strategize how to approach the trial. Magkakaroon po tayo ng information campaign din para sa ating mga kababayan para maintindihan nila ang proseso ng impeachment, to simplify it so that every citizen can understand the process. Igihan po natin, no, na planuhin ang bawat article of impeachment na malatag ng simple, klaro para sa sambayanan at sa mga magiging husgado sa Senado, while the impeachment complaint has been transmitted to the Senate. And the Constitution provides that once it has been received by the Secretary General of the Senate, trial should proceed forthwith. We will respect the institution of the Senate, how they will interpret forthwith, no? Kung gaano kaaga nila aktuhan ito, we will respect that. Pero sana matuloy lang ang paglilitis na ito, because this is the perfect opportunity for all parties, especially the Vice President. This is the perfect opportunity for her to be given due process, for a chance to lay down the evidence in her favor and to clarify things during the trial. Kung tatanungin po ninyo, kung June na magbubukas at magkukonvene ang Senado as an impeachment court at kakapusin ng oras, tatawid po ba ito sa susunod na Kongreso? It is possible, and yes, we will leave it to the Senate and to the rules of the impeachment court, because what adjourned yesterday was our legislative calendar. Ibig sabihin, natapos po ang pag-exercise namin ng aming legislative power as Congress and as Senate. And an impeachment process is a sui generis or a class of its own. Kakaiba po itong proseso and it's not part of the legislative process. Nasa Senado po yan, how they interpret that, and since it is not part of the legislative process, pwede po nating sabing they can convene anytime that they are ready without waiting for session to open on June 2. And since it is not part of the legislative process, their rules may state that it may cross over to the next Congress. I heard the Senate President's interview earlier this morning, and he said that they will prepare first, and we respect that, and they have to update their own rules of impeachment, and we also respect that. So we leave it up to the Senate as a separate body and as an impartial body to be judges in the impeachment court how they will proceed with the impeachment process. Rog?
Sir, ay, sorry po. Baka lang gusto niyo nang sagutin, sir, yung what if one of the 11 or some of the 11 will not make it to the 20th?
Your answer. Sure.
I believe po, like sinabi po ni Kong Noy, that would really depend on the Senate and their rules. But as far as I guess we understand, it's just a position that is elected, and should there be a change in the composition, because we have to understand the Senate is a continuing body. The House of Representatives is not. If ever we have a new composition at the 20th Congress, then I think they will just elect a new set of prosecutors, if ever. It does not stop the process. As Kong Noy mentioned, sui generis, this is of a constitutionally mandated function of Congress. So I think patuloy pa rin naman po yun.
Tama si Congressman Rodriguez, and it would also depend on the Senate rules of impeachment. Kung meron po tayong isang kasamahan sa House of Representatives na hindi papalarin at hindi makakatuloy sa 20th Congress, if the Senate rules on impeachment prosecutors can participate during the impeachment trial, then maybe they can continue as private prosecutors. So it would all depend on the impeachment court once they convene and they set forth their rules of impeachment.
Dadagdag ko lang po, no, sa mga dalawang prosecutors po natin. I think the Constitution speaks about the Congress, the House of Representatives tries, and then the conviction is on the Senate mandate po, no, according to Constitution. But sa pagkakaalam ko po, the of the impeachment is not, it's not really tied up with particular members sitting in a particular Congresses. That's why it's very, kumbaga kung titingnan niyo po sa Constitution, it's the Congress. So meaning to say, it's the institution that tries and convicts. Number two, as far as the impeachment or the Senate convening into an impeachment court, tama nga po yung sinabi po ni Kong Noy at saka ni Kong Rog, that would depend on the rules that they would adopt. Because since magko-convene po sila sa impeachment court, nakita po natin during the time of former President Estrada and former Chief Justice Corona, they have adopted their own rules. So maybe that's the reason why Senator SP Jesus Escudero is trying to convey to the public that they're preparing because they need to adopt first yung kanilang rules. Para sa amin po dito sa House of Representatives, we really respect the position of the Senate. As para naman po sa amin dito sa House of Representatives, we have established yung constitutional mandate po dahil may 3 pong complaints na binigay po sa atin dito. Pangalawa, yung urgency po ng complaint na ito. As long as we did our job and we have we have showed to the people that indeed the issue on impeachment complaints that were transmitted or that was endorsed to us, yung 3 complaint, were given primacy in credence and were given also their due value. So yun po yung ginawa natin dito. Pinakita lang po natin na when it comes to issue of impeachment, the dictation of the Constitution is of top priority of the legislators here in the 19th Congress.
In addition po, no, Ma'am Tina, in addition also to the answer of Kong Noy in relation to the preparations of the House, as we mentioned, the House will not shy away from its constitutional duty. Verily, we have already initiated the impeachment complaint as mandated by the Constitution. And in addition to that, we will not shy away from the preparations too. As we speak, the House leadership is already preparing the impeachment secretariat. So we will be prepared if ever the Senate does indeed interpret that they could proceed with trial as early as March. We will be ready. If they decide that it will continue after June 2, well, we'll be even more ready. So yun na po siguro.
Sir, follow-up ko lang po yung impeachment secretariat. Who will compose that and what will their duties be?
To answer that po, no, it's still not clear. Of course, it's been a while, but the impeachment secretariat will cater to all the needs that the House would have in relation to the sui generis proceedings. So, I think it would be from the top down regarding logistics, regarding support. It should be separate from the legislative function of the House. So, that's all that we could say po siguro at this moment.
Thank you po, sirs.
Thank you, Tina. Let us move on to the next question from Net25, Big Sumindak.
Good morning po. Just a quick follow-up lang po. Among the 11 congressman prosecutors, may we know who will be the lead prosecutors?
We leave it to the leadership of the House, who will be the lead prosecutor, and we will respect that. And we're fine with anyone who will be chosen as lead prosecutor.
Thank you, Vic. Bibian Gulia from ABS-CBN.
Good morning, Kongs. Tama po ba yung intindi ko sa mga answers ninyo kanina? Okay lang po sa inyo na June na mag-start after the elections yung trial. There's no call to hold the trial during the break?
Since the Constitution provides that trial shall proceed forthwith, if we interpret forthwith, dapat po sana as soon as possible yon. But since the Senate is an independent body, and we respect their independence, being a bicameral legislature, we will leave that to the interpretation of the Senate. I will refuse to comment on how they should act because they will be judges in this impeachment trial. And we accord them with the utmost respect and that they should act with utmost impartiality without any influence from the prosecution or from the respondent or the defendant. So, sana po maagapan ang pagsimula kasi the sooner that the evidence could be laid down, the sooner that due process can be exercised, the sooner can the issues pending before us can be resolved. So, sige po, sana po maagahan dahil handa naman ang prosecution team.
But sir, so as you mentioned, it's written in the Constitution that trial should proceed forthwith. But can you point us to a specific rule lang po or part of the Constitution where it states that the Senate can hold the trial even when Congress is on break po?
When you say forthwith, hindi nakasabi doon kung saan sa konstitusyon na pwede may break. Every year before session opens, every legislative congress, kunyari 19th Congress, the Senate Secretariat and the House Secretariat together with the duly elected speaker, inuupuan muna nila yung legislative calendar for that year. While it's not clear whether we can proceed with the impeachment trial during the break, we said earlier that the impeachment trial is a sui generis o kakaibang proseso po ito. It's a class of its own and it is not bound by the legislative calendar. It's purely a political question on how Senate would proceed with it. So, yan po ang sagot dyan, no? Hindi po nakatali yan sa black and white and we will see how the Senate would react on and act on the impeachment complaint.
Sir, baka lang din po meron kayong comment dun sa sinabi ni SP Cheese na unfair na madaliin sila dahil 2 buwan daw po inupuan ng House ang impeachment complaints.
Well, again, we respect the position of the Senate President. In fact, it has been explained naman po ni Congressman Noy that they have their own rules. We don't want to at least influence the impartiality ng mga senator judges. we would just wait for the Senate to convene as an impeachment court. Sa amin po, as long as we have already relayed and we have displayed the urgency and the priority that we have established that these impeachment complaints should be given primacy and should given priority, it's up to the court, no, the impeachment court, the Senate, when will they convene as a impeachment court. So yun lang po yung amin. There's no prescriptive time naman po, prescriptive time na sinabi po sa Constitution that once it is filed, once it is transmitted to the Senate is bound to, for example, a certain number of days to convene as an impeachment court. So it's up to how the Senate will define and will act on the wordings of the Constitution na sinasabi po shall act forthwith. As far as we are concerned, we take that as immediate and urgent.
Okay. Sir, doon naman sa mga prosecutors, paano po yung hatian, division of labor doon sa 7 articles of impeachment? Sinong congressman ang mag-handle ng specific articles po?
As of the moment po, wala pa pong assignments po of which prosecutor will be handling which articles. I think this is something to be discussed further down as we form the full impeachment secretariat po.
Your reaction din, sir, na parang yung ibang mga kamag-anak ng ibang senador ay hindi po pumirma doon sa impeachment complaints. Parang doon sa mga kamag-anak, 3 lang po yung pumirma, but most of them hindi po pumirma doon sa complaints. May implications po ba ito on the, well, how would you interpret that?
I hope you'd understand we'd refuse to comment on that po. Especially that given that these are our colleagues and we respect their opinion, every representative has the right to conduct themselves as they see fit for their constituents. But one thing's for sure po, the numbers are very clear. This is more than 1/3 required. There is a supermajority, so to speak. Yun na po yung impeachment complaint po natin.
Just to add, legally, it will not affect the impeachment complaint. It will not affect the impeachment trial. And the cold neutrality of an impartial judge by the Senate and the members of the Senate would be better preserved siguro kung may ganyan.
I-add ko lang, it just goes to show na yung mga lumalabas po na mga fake news at mga rumors na merong sapilitan, na merong nagkakaroon po ng pag-influensya sa ating mga miyembro, ito po yung nagpapatunay na ang bawat isa po sa amin ay nagdesisyon base ho doon sa kanilang pag-appreciate ng merits ng complaint na ito.
Last na lang po. Your comment, sinabi raw po ni Duterte Youth Party List Chairman Ronald Cardema alleges funds for later release were promised to the 215 lawmakers who signed the 4th impeachment complaint against Vice President Duterte.
Again, kaya po ang Tricom ay nagko-conduct po ng investigation at inquiry in aid of legislation dahil po precisely because of these rumors and this chismis and this fake news na lumalabas po doon sa ating lipunan. Wala pong katotohanan sa mga sinasabi na ganyan. We would like to again to focus on the impeachment complaint. Ito po ay diversionary tactic na ginagawa po ng mga tao o grupo na ina-assail po nila yung integrity ng House, yung merits nung kaso o nung complaint na ipinasa po natin, tinransmit po natin sa Senate. Gusto ko lang pong ipaabot sa ating mga kababayan na we should be focused on the complaints, on the articles of impeachment. Wag tayo magpapadala at maniniwala sa mga diversionary tactics na ginagawa po ng ilang grupo po. Kaya nga po tayo inaagaran natin na magkaroon po ng batas para ma-regulate po natin at mabigyan sa solusyon itong mga fake news po na lumalabas, disinformation, malinformation, and misinformation po na lumalaganap sa ating lipunan. Isa na po itong mga balitang ganito.
Thank you. Next question, Krisa Subing-Subing from Inquirer. Go ahead.
Hi sir, slightly different question naman po. Can you give us an inside story po on how the votes were mustered yesterday? Kailan po nakuha ng mga mambabatas po yung or kailan kinonsolidate, kailan binuo yung 4th complaint, and paano po nag-gather ng support to endorse the complaint?
Well, admittedly, this is a long time coming po, no? Each congressman, although there was no talk of impeachment, they've already formed their own opinions from the hearings of the Quadcomm and the good government committees. And I guess this was, accumulated into the first three impeachment complaints po, no? But the first three did not gather consensus. It did not gather momentum needed. And while the most congressmen, especially the members of the Justice Committee, were eagerly awaiting po to fulfill our mandate by hearing it in the Justice Committee, I believe the party leaders po have already thought of finding consensus in between the three. So they took the best parts, took out the parts that they feel were not agreeable to other members, and that was what was presented. And finally, yesterday, it resulted in the impeachment po, the initiation of the complaint.
There were party consultations, and considering that there were three previous impeachment complaints filed, nakabuo ng mas matatag at mas klarong impeachment complaint na nakakuha ng suporta at kumpiyansa ng mga congressmen. That is why with this fourth impeachment complaint, which is clearer, where the evidence is presented in a stronger manner, it gave confidence to more than 200 or 215 congressmen to act as complainants in this impeachment complaint. So, unti-unti pong nabuo at getting the best of the three previous impeachment complaints as earlier said by Kong Rods.
Idagdag ko lang po, no? Simula po nung tumanggap po tayo ng mga complaints, 3 pong complaints ito, impeachment complaints, wala pong choice ang miyembro ng House of Representatives kundi bigyan po ng pansin itong complaints na ito, because it now borders our constitutional mandate. It's a question of whether we act based